Yes, if it isn't our dumbest people on the internet series continued. Now, today we're going to be checking out Andrew dismantles this feminist claims about body count. Very popular topic, and with the Whatever podcast has been a roller coaster ride. I'm not going to lie, I love reacting to these clips, guys. It gives you the insight into just the worst degeneracy you'll find on planet Earth, honestly. Make sure you are subscribed to Goals and Growth, and also go and check out our other motivation and self-improvement playlist on the channel, and make sure you're subscribed. Let's go.
This is
hold up.
Instagram poll and ask their age, religion, political background, whatever, to account for all the variables.
Sure.
And like 95% probably said they don't care. It's not a deal breaker.
Lies.
Y'all can go check it out. It's a highlight on my Insta.
This is you should pull it up because I'd like to see how it's phrased.
Ooh.
I said, no, without adding commentary.
Legal.
Age, just answer these questions. Age, religion, whatever. Is body count a deal breaker? If you're otherwise compatible, which is what we discussed last time.
Okay, fair enough.
If you're otherwise, okay. So everything is good, except you 1,000 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So and they said that that's not a deal breaker.
Very few people cared. Y'all should pull it up.
So.
And that's what I was arguing last time. And I think it should be, actually, for multiple reasons. And I can go over them all if you want. But
so you think that we should raise awareness that you should be asking women their body counts more?
I don't think there's a reason.
I mean,
I don't think it's negative.
Yeah, I do think that if you are considering a serious relationship with a woman, yeah, that's a very important thing to ask. That's just me.
In any way, too.
Yeah. So then I agree with you that there are far too many men who are willing to accept women with really high body counts. It's absolutely revolting to me, some of the numbers that I've heard from women, where I'm just like, I don't even know how you get out of bed.
Well, actually, we were just talking about this. I'm like, how that, because last time I was on here, I think the comedian chick said like 300 or something. I was like,
that's
how?
crazy, bro.
Because she walks around with a mattress strapped to her back.
Like, literally, what are you doing? But I think it's the same for men because the physiological effects are the same. You're still more likely to have STDs. You're still down-regulating your dopamine and oxytocin receptors.
True.
It is true.
The STD thing, it's not true.
Because men can't get HPV?
No, women are more susceptible to STDs.
Correct.
Just for anatomical reasons. But on top of that, there is another differential here.
With gay men?
Hold on. Stop. You gotta let me. You can't keep fucking interrupting.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So.
Whoa. Brian, you've grown some backbone since I last saw you. Okay.
Anatomical reasons. Women will tend to gravitate towards high status men. So women are more likely to end up sharing men.
Fair.
Okay. No argument there.
Yeah. So if all the girls are trying to fuck Kanye or Chris Brown, who fucked thousands of women,
yeah,
and women are attracted to men of status and all this sort of stuff, the men that women tend to pick when it comes to their promiscuity is they have access to those men.
Yeah, I think that women will tolerate more.
It's not a put off for these women. Whereas if a man was privy to the fact that a woman's 1,000+ men, no matter her status or her attractive...
I do agree, right? I do agree for most women it's not a put-off, but for some women it is a put-off. Of course, I'm not generalizing here, but for most men, unfortunately, it's more of a put-off if a woman has 1,000 bodies than it is from a woman's perspective if a high-status man has that many bodies, if that makes sense. But essentially, he's completely correct. I do believe that the higher the value of man you are, right? You've built yourself up, you've built your wealth, you've built your body, you're a high, quote-unquote, high-value man. Let's use that term. Obviously, they will tend to gravitate towards you. You might have been with multiple women before that, and that doesn't bother them. Swap the roles around. If you were a man looking for a decent woman and you heard she's been with 300, 400 dudes, yeah, it's going to be a no-no, right?
In this level, it's more likely to be a put-off.
Well, yeah, I'm not disagreeing on the fact that like the majority of women will accept it more than men will. I'm saying it should be an issue for either sex because of You could still get an STD. You could still have to deal with the other party's dependence. You could still have someone with an avoidant attachment style who can't form proper connections because their, hormones and neuroreceptors are just totally screwed. So I think it should be concerning to either partner, but I'm not saying that it is as much for women as it is men. I think you're right about that. And I think that's silly of women, but it's a thing, yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So your position is what?
You think it's silly of women?
Yes.
So I wonder, how does a woman determine a man has status?
All right, apologies for the camera malfunction. Let's continue.
Most women probably go for his money, his fame, all the things that he mentioned.
Yes.
And also, what is considered status for men is beautiful women, right?
Yep.
Sure.
With low body counts.
The more beautiful women that a woman has banged, it seems obvious to me that if women are going for men of status, that if beautiful women were not going for those men, they would think there was something wrong with them.
Yeah, but I think that's silly, and that might be like my touch of the tism where I don't care about like social norms, but like I think what we should value is a man's integrity, his character, his ability to be a good partner for you.
You know what? It's lovely that you think that way, but unfortunately the majority do not.
Hot chicks.
But but let's separate these two concepts, the descriptive from the prescriptive, right? So I agree with you that people should base things around virtue, right? I agree with that. But they don't. So descriptively, they don't. Doesn't it track that women, if they were looking for men of status, would be looking at men who banged a lot of women?
Well, yeah, I'm not denying that.
Because that would prove that women desire him. That's part of their status, right?
Right, but that's why I said I think it's silly. Like,
But is it silly?
Often very overlooked, right? You can have all this wealth and you can have all the status, but part of that status is having been with multiple women. Because, as you said, it makes other women see that you are desired. So they become intrigued. They begin to think that, well, what's it like being with him? I completely understand that. Okay.
Because in reverse, that is not the case. It does the exact opposite for women, where men go, oh, well, your status is fucking garbage, right? Because you slept with a lot of men. Yeah. So I'm not sure.
I just think it should be the same.
Well,
I don't think it is.
I love the idea of both parties moving and gravitating towards each other based on virtues, right? I think that that's great. But that is not the case.
Well, I'm not arguing that it's not.
Yeah. So, I mean, prescriptively, I would agree with you that they should move towards virtues, but but they don't. So that if they don't, right, then how can you give the advice to men, for instance, not to do this thing? How can you give them the advice to not do this thing if women will reject them if they don't do the thing? That's my whole thing. That's what I'm wondering.
The classic catch-22.
Well, I guess it's you're religious, right?
Yeah,
so you shouldn't base it off of rejection.
Give me a secular argument.
Well, you should base it off of like what the Bible tells you to look for in a partner.
That's a religious argument.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Give me a secular argument, non-religious.
You should care about your sexual health. You should care about your mental health, like all of the things.
Those don't seem to be things which are highly affected.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but just know that there are women like me who don't find it attractive, who the slightest bit of competition turns me off. I don't want anything to do with it. Just wait for that person rather than risk all this other shit.
If a guy is really high status, he doesn't give a shit about you. He's going to have tons of women.
He has options.
But we're talking about the average Joe.
He has, right? But the thing is, I hear what you're saying. She's pretty rare. I'm gonna give her that. The way of thinking I like, but unfortunately for the average Joe, he's gonna have to pick up the crumbs. and that's a very harsh way of saying it, but he's going to have to pick up the crumbs. He's going to have to pick up the leftovers, those who've been with 300, 400 guys. Because that's all that's going to be left. The high-value woman is going to desire the high-value man. They're all going to gravitate towards the high-value man, and some of the decent women as well. And then the average Joe is left with the crumbs, if I can say it like that.
No. In fact, the opposite.
So we're talking
about high status men. So Brian's argument. So Brian's argument. No, not just Kanye, right? That's
all right.
High status.
All right. Okay, guys, we've gotten the gist of this, but let me know: does body count matter to you? right? And what context does it matter? Does it matter in terms of getting into that initial relationship? Does it matter in the context of just having someone for the short term? Does it matter to you at all? Let me know in the comment section before we end of this video. Make sure that you are subscribed, and I'll see you next time on Goals and Growth.